Hello everybody, JonTrigger12 back here again with another video, and today I bring you another top 5. It's been a decently long while since my last top 5, so, I've been doing a lot of the DBZ stuff. I ended with that, and I did a couple last week, which were dedicated to the Flash and Green Arrow, so now seeing as how we're starting to reach the middle of October, practically, we're in the second week as I'm recording this. We're getting deeper into October, and as you all know, I'm a humongous fan of October. I love October. It's my favorite month out of the year. I just love the atmosphere, the feel out of it, the coldness starts to come in, fall. I don't know, I just love that type of stuff. And of course, Halloween is just awesome, it just brings out the kid in you. Even though I'm a lot older and I don't really give a shit about the trick-or-treating type of shit anymore, it doesn't mean I still don't like Halloween in October, so. But nevertheless, I had some difficulties trying to come up with appropriate top 5s for this month, because I think this is the first Halloween. I think this is actually the first Halloween that I'm actually doing top 5s for. So I find it difficult to find appropriate top 5 videos to do them on. Like I was thinking, like what should I do? Should I do like all Halloween related? Do I do all horror related? Like I don't know which way to go with it, but as of right now, I'm going to be doing my top 5, for this specific video, I'm going to be doing my top 5 Halloween movies. As you all know, I'm a humongous fan of the Halloween franchise. It's hands down one of my favorite slasher genre franchises. And I just love Michael Myers as my favorite character, as my favorite movie, so just dedicate a top 5 to it. But I don't know if the rest of my top 5s for the majority of the rest of October is going to be dedicated to Halloween. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be. I mean, I have in my head of, like, it's possibly going to happen. But nevertheless, I don't want to, keep you guys guessing. So, it's possibly going to be, for the rest of the top 5s for the rest of this month is probably going to be Halloween related or Halloween franchise related. So, just keep that in mind. But nevertheless, let's get right down to it. Of course, this list is subjective, and it's my personal thoughts, so you don't really have to agree with me. So that's why in the comment section below, you guys can let me know what you personally think. So anyways, coming up at number 5 is a real tie. Like, this was very, this was very difficult because the Halloween sequels, as we all know, aren't really as luxurious and amazing as the previous incarnations in the franchise, so it's really hard to pick and choose which one I really like and want to put on my list. I mean, I'm pretty sure other Halloween fans are completely capable of doing it, and I'm pretty sure you guys can come up with a list that's appropriate enough. But for me, it was very hard. It was really hard for me to actually do it, so I'm just gonna put it at this. I have 3 movies that are going to be on this list. One is Halloween 6, or Halloween 666, whichever title you want to give it. And the other 2 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. Now, the reason why I put them all on the same list is because, for one, I like them all. I like all 3 of them equally. And all 3 of them are equally as bad. They're not really amazing. One doesn't really trump the other, and the other doesn't really, is superior to the other. They're all kind of really crappy in their own way. And that's not me trying to bash them. I mean, I enjoy Halloween 6 from time to time, and I'll watch Rob Zombie's Halloweens occasionally. So they're not really movies that I'm like, oh, they suck so bad. But at the same time, I like them, and then I don't like them equally for the same reasons, or for different reasons. So it's kind of hard to pick and choose which one I like more than the other. And but if I had to, if you guys can't take the tie, if you guys are like, oh God, John, you're such a cop out, you fucking pussy, just pick one already. Okay, well if you can't deal with the tie, I'm gonna pick one. And that's going to be Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, you guys may even think that's even more bogus and more amazing. It's like, wow, really, JonTrigger12? I lost all fucking hope and conscience with you. I don't like you anymore. I'm unsubscribing as of now. Well, just wait for a second before you do that type of shit. Well, first off, I know a lot of people in the horror, the horror fans and the Halloween fans definitely are not really happy with Rob Zombie's incarnations or installments in the franchise. They're not really the best, and they don't really hold up with the rest of the franchise. I will agree. But at the same time, there's one reason and one reason. Well, there's actually two reasons. Two reasons and only two reasons only why I would pick Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 over his first remake and Halloween 6. And it's because of, well, for one, it's definitely, I like to consider the most visually pleasing of the Halloween sequels. Like the visuals in Halloween 2 are far superior to his first one. And of course the rest of the sequels in the Halloween franchise, with the exception of, obviously, the original. And the second one being is the opening sequence. Like, I'm pretty sure every Halloween fan went into Halloween 2 thinking it was a full-on remake of Halloween 2, the original. And it obviously wasn't, but for the first 10 or 20 minutes of the movie, it was. The dream sequence, as we are calling it, is possibly like the best. Like, if I'm telling you, it's the best sequence out of all the Halloween movies. It's so well put together. It's so well directed. It's so scary and visually pleasing. Michael Myers looks like a beast in there. He just looks awesome and badass. The mask looks so awesome with blood dripping down with it and rain going all crazy. It's so awesome. Like, if only Rob Zombie had done that, but like for the rest of the movie, it would have been hands down my favorite Halloween sequel of all time. Hands down. And that's saying a lot because, and I don't know about anybody else, I'm pretty sure there's other people who are like, oh, that opening sequence is bullshit. It's such a ripoff. Well, for me, I personally like it in comparison to the rest of the movie, and that's saying a lot. So, nevertheless, if I had to give it a choosing out of the tie, I would pick Halloween 2. But then again, all three of them are pretty much as, I like them and don't like them equally, so it's kind of whatever. But moving off of that, going to number 4, it has to go to, no pun intended, but Halloween 4 itself. It's one of my favorite Halloween sequels, and I like to consider Halloween 4 like the beginning of like the violent era of Michael Myers, because this was when Michael Myers got more violent, and of course it overall has a feeling of like awesomeness to it already, because it's of course the return of Michael Myers, because there was those couple years gap in between Halloween 2 and Halloween 4, where obviously there was no returning characters in Halloween 3, so obviously it already had a big epic feel to it. It was like, oh, this is the epic return to Michael Myers. This is back. This is the return to the roots of Halloween franchise. We're getting back into Haddonfield and shit. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. And of course, I like Danielle Harris. I like to consider her just like the promised child. Like, she's very promising in the movie. I don't know. I just like it overall. It's not a great sequel. It's not like hands down the greatest sequel in the Halloween franchise, but it's personally one of my favorites. I like Halloween 4. It has a interesting feel to it that I really like. I like the music in it. It's pretty good. The visual style is awesome. The kills are awesome. Everything about Halloween 4 is just amazing to me. I like it. The cast is good. The movie's good, in my personal opinion. And plus, it's a return of Michael Myers. You can't beat that. Anyways, moving off to number 3 on my list has to go to H2O, Halloween 20 years later. It's one of my favorites for several reasons, but it's not really number 1 on my list. I'm pretty sure some would consider it number 1. It's like, oh, come on, H2O is the best. It's like, we like to consider that like the finale of the franchise and shit. And I agree with you. I also like to consider H2O not only the third incarnation of the Halloween franchise, but I also like to consider it the finale of the Halloween franchise, because I don't really like to consider Resurrection the finale of the first incarnation of the franchise, because for one, it's not really that good, and plus it didn't really do any justice to H2O. Like, H2O was really good. It was very well done. I mean, like, it wasn't very well done. It was kind of cliche for its time, because obviously H2O came out during the period of Scream. Like, it kind of rode that train of Scream, so it has a lot of Scream elements that I don't know if even to this day, I don't know if it still works for the Halloween franchise, the Scream elements, but I guess it worked for the time, because obviously it made money and it's obviously one of the more successful of the Halloween movies, with the exception of the first one. And that's my personal opinion. But Halloween Resurrection, I don't really like to consider the finale. I like to consider H2O the finale. But anyways, H2O is just awesome. It's a good movie. It's pretty well done. The music is pretty decent in it. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis came back to the franchise to play Laurie Strode. And it has, hands down, one of the best closing moments in all the Halloween movies, which is, of course, the official death of Michael Myers. Of course, we've tried to kill him throughout all the movies, like from Halloween 2 all the way to H2O. We tried to kill him, and this was the grand finale. We finally got it done. And of course, Resurrection kind of ruined it all, but what are you going to do? You can't fight the producers and Dimension and Miramax and tell them, it's like, you fucking assholes, you ruined it. But what are you going to do? You can't kill Michael Myers relatively, so what are you going to do? Nevertheless, let's go to number 2 on my list, which has to go to once again, no pun intended, but the original Halloween 2. Yes, it's one of my favorites, mostly because, for one, I just like the design of it. It just looks very cool, and plus, secondly, it's one of those sequels that I don't think has really been done before since then, which is, of course, a sequel that takes place after the original, like 5 seconds later. Seriously, usually when you do a sequel, it's usually like, oh, it's 9 months later, oh, it's a year later, oh no, it's like 10 years later, and the characters are different, and they're in college, and they're doing things, and they have kids and whatnot. Who gives a shit? But this was like one of the first sequels where it was like, fuck, it's like 5 minutes later, we're still in the night. We're still getting fogged, and this guy's walking around, bullet holes in him. What the fuck? How the fuck is that possible? What the fuck's going on? Does this night ever end? It's ruining my life. But, and I say that comedically, of course. And plus, also, I have to put on my list, and it's so high on my list because I've seen it so many times. Like, Halloween 2 has to be the number 1 Halloween movie out of the franchise that I saw so many times, with the exception of the original. It's hands down the number 1 sequel that I saw multiple times growing up as a kid. Like, when I was growing up as a kid, they showed that movie on TV so many times. They rerun it every fucking year. So many times. More than any other sequel. Even more than the original. I'm pretty sure every kid in America who grew up on the Halloween franchise knows that is to be true. Like, there were several movies that they reran over the years like a crazy madman, which is, of course, the original Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, and I guess, that's pretty much it. They didn't really show any of the other ones. Maybe they showed H2O, here and there, especially now. But back in the day, it usually was like Halloween 2, like, all the fucking time. And I just personally love it. I just really like it. It's scary. It's visually pleasing. Michael Myers is a beast in there. Dick Warlock, who came in to play Michael Myers, really recreated the shape, because in the original, the shape, or Michael Myers, whichever you want to go with, it was essentially like, he was just like a part of the night of Halloween. Like, he just had this flow about him. But in Halloween 2, it was completely recreated. Like, Dick Warlock completely recreated, like, the motives and the way the shape moves and the way he kills. Like, it was completely different, and I like that style of it. And of course, it was because of Dick Warlock that we have the way Michael Myers does his things. He moves a certain way. He has very slow movements. The way he does it is the way, like, other actors came in to do it based off his performance, and I personally like it. It's awesome. Halloween 2 is hands down one of my favorite sequels in the franchise, and hands down one of my favorite movies in the franchise. But moving on from that, let's give off some honorable mentions, or dishonorable mentions, wherever you want to go with it, because obviously the sequels aren't that amazing. But let's see. Let's name off some that didn't get on the list. Halloween 3. I know a lot of people don't like to consider it a part of the franchise, and even I don't like to consider it part of the franchise, but I do like it. It's a good movie, even though it's not the greatest movie of all time, and a lot of people can discount that, even if it didn't have the vendetta of being called a Halloween sequel, that it could have done great, is debatable, of course. But I personally like it. Like when I rewatch it, it's like, okay, well, it's okay. It's an okay movie. So, moving off of that, Halloween's. Let's see, Halloween Resurrection. I guess you can put on my honorable mentions. I mean, for one, it's I like to consider Halloween like. If you considered H2O like the commercial movie, like that's what I like to call it sometimes, like this, like H2O is the commercial of the movies. That's what I like to call it. Halloween Resurrection is the TV movie. That's what I like to consider Halloween Resurrection, because for one, when you rewatch it, like if you're not doing anything, guys, right now, put in Halloween Resurrection and rewatch it like from beginning to end. It just has that element of TV, you know. It just feels like a big over the top TV movie. That's how it feels to me, and that's how I always like to consider it. I don't consider it a big, you know, feature film. I like to consider it a TV movie because it has the hits and beats of like a TV movie, because you had like all these various actors that you don't really know or you kind of know, and you know, there's not really that much craziness going on, and you know, it's not really going anywhere. You know, it just has that feeling of TV. But moving off of that, other honorable mentions, I guess Halloween 6 and Rob Zombie's original Halloween, you know, if you could. And Halloween 5 is like, I don't know. It's really hard to consider it because, for one, it's the least favorite. It's probably like the worst Halloween sequel in the entire franchise, hands down. Like, I would go on a limb here and probably say Halloween 5. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody who worked on the movie. I'm not trying to disrespect like Daniel Harris or, you know, Don Shakes, who played Michael Myers, or anybody who was involved with it. I'm not trying to do that, but you have to admit, Halloween 5 is the worst of the sequels. It's just not good by any stretch. But moving off of that, going to my number one pick, and yes, it's cliche, but of course it's true. Who else are you going to pick? It's the king of kings of horror. It's the definitive creme de la creme of slasher movies. It is, of course, John Carpenter's Halloween. It's, oh god, the original Halloween is just amazing. It's hands down my personal favorite Halloween movie. It's hands down my personal favorite horror movie. And it just still stands the test of time. It's still a good fucking movie. But that's pretty much it. I don't really want to go on, you know, for hours and hours talking about how much I like Halloween, and you know, but overall, it's hands down my personal favorite. In the comment section below, let me know your personal list. What is your favorite Halloween movies in the Halloween franchise? And give me some ideas for other Halloween-related top 5s. And nevertheless, subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. And this has been JonTricker12, and I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy your October. I know there's a lot of crazy assholes who like to fuck around and shit, but nevertheless, let's just have a nice time and enjoy Halloween, okay? So, I'll be back with another horror-related or Halloween-related top 5 next week, so hope you guys look forward to that, and that's going to be it.